Hello everyone. About a year ago, I made a video comparing Krunker.io and Shell Shockers. Because there have been a lot of changes and updates for both games, I decided to make an updated video about this. So, as many of you probably know, Shell Shockers and Krunker are pretty similar games. Shell Shockers is about shooting eggs, and Krunker is about shooting boxes. Although these games are both pretty similar, they also have a lot of differences, and I'll be addressing this later in the video. The first major comparison point I would like to talk about is the maps. The last time I compared Shell Shockers and Krunker maps, both games didn't really have too many. Now, Krunker has 13 competitive maps, and Shell Shockers has almost 30 maps. One key point that I'd like to mention though, is that Krunker has the ability for players to make and create their own custom maps, which has led to a really large map-making community in Krunker, and players also have a large amount of maps they can play from that aren't official maps. All in all, both games have pretty fun and diverse maps. Now, I'm going to tell you about the weapons in both games. Shell Shockers only has 6 primary weapons, 1 secondary weapon, and throwable grenades. Krunker has 11 primary weapons, 4 secondary weapons, and melee weapons. Krunker has a diverse set of weapons that give the user unique abilities, and Shell Shockers has simple weapons that make the game very casual and fun to play. When we address movement, we will start to see some major differences. Shell Shockers has very limited movement. You can really only run around and jump. To be fair, there aren't really many ways to make eggs move, but I feel like Shell Shockers could have had some more interesting movement mechanics. On the other hand, Krunker has plenty of movement mechanics. You can slide, crouch, slide hop, shotgun jump, rocket jump, wall jump, and I'm pretty sure there's even more stuff that I'm just missing. When it comes to movement, Krunker really just blows Shell Shockers out of the water. The next major difference between Shell Shockers and Krunker is the economy. Shell Shockers has an economy based off of eggs you earn by eliminating players. When you have a specific amount of eggs, you can buy items from the market. Krunker has a much larger economy, and it is way more complicated. You can earn Krunkies, which is the Krunker currency, by completing challenges, watching advertisements, eliminating players, buying items, selling items. The list really just goes on and on. The Krunker market is more like the stock market than a store. There's also a huge Krunker market community, where people make huge profits by interacting with each other. Krunker also has a lot more items and cosmetics than Shell Shockers. Shell Shockers only has around 80 cosmetic items, while Krunker has well over 1,000 items. Finally, I'm going to be addressing the competitive scene. Both Krunker and Shell Shockers have pretty good competitive scenes, but they are pretty small. It is basically what you would expect. Teams just fight each other in tournaments for recognition and prizes. A lot of Krunker esports and Shell Shockers events are live streamed on Twitch, and both get pretty decent turnouts. I'm not really as familiar with the Shell Shockers competitive scene as I am with the Krunker scene, so I really can't talk about it too much without being biased. That pretty much sums up the comparison. Both Krunker and Shell Shockers are fun games, but in my opinion, Krunker has a lot more content to offer than Shell Shockers. Both games are very simple and pretty easy to get into, and I would recommend checking them both out before making a decision for yourself. Well, that concludes the comparison. That's all for now. Bye.